This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time!
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah!
I finished these fights.
Give me a hell yeah!
Top Rope Nation.
Learn to love it. It's the best thing going today.
Previewing WWE Backlash and talking a little bit of New Japan Best of the Super Juniors. Top Rope Nation back on the air this week, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ryan Drosty, editor-in-chief of TopRopePress.com. Joined here by my feuding co-hosts, whose favorite NBA teams are now in the Eastern Conference Finals. Justin Joint, supporting the Boston Celtics. Kyle Ross, over there in Cleveland, Ohio, with the Cavaliers. Kyle, I see you're sporting a Cleveland Cavaliers t-shirt tonight. Defend the land. If you're not watching us on YouTube, guys, you need to be watching us on YouTube. You can see Kyle smiling at you. See the twinkle in his eye every single week as he talks professional wrestling. Kyle, how's it going on in Cleveland tonight?
I'll tell you what, no dives necessary in game one, were there, Justin, huh?
Nope.
Hey, I think Justin was showing some good humor. I saw him retweeting some stuff on Twitter with that amazing LeBron dunk and the animations being made to it.
I have zero expectations for the Celtics in this series. In fact, I hope Bron gets to the finals relatively healthy, because I want him to beat the Warriors. He is, after all, the Cavs version of Braun Strowman. He is Braun Goatman.
You know, I would probably also be rooting for the Cavs in the finals against Golden State, just as I was last year. So
I appreciate that.
Yes, if that happens.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't think as much as I love pro wrestling, nothing's made me shake in the knees quite like Game 7 last year did.
Isn't it kind of crazy how in the first year of this podcast, we had Kyle and I's favorite baseball teams going at it in the World Series in the fall, and now Justin joins the podcast and your two favorite basketball teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. What are the odds?
I'll tell you what, it ain't going to be Cubs Browns in the Super Bowl next, or Browns Bears in the Super Bowl next January.
No, I think we got that one safe.
Yeah.
Next year it'll be somebody's EPL's teams.
Yeah. Oh, you're still trying to convince me to get into that. We'll see what happens. Kyle, are you a soccer fan?
No, it's on too early in the morning.
Yeah.
It's on the perfect time. It's coffee time, man. Relax and watch.
I don't know. I'm always working. I got to get a TV in this room.
Yeah. I'm slowly warming up to
I get into the
European
World
football.
Cup. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I'd like to.
Well, we got to talk WWE Backlash, guys. Pay-per-view is on the horizon. We got to do our typical preview show. And then later in the show, actually, Justin and I just pre-recorded a segment with Abby Arthur from TopRopePress.com. So you can hear us talk for about 25 minutes. New Japan Pro Wrestling, Best of the Super Juniors, the first 2 days. We're also talking the big press conference they just had in Los Angeles, announcing some of their expansion into the U.S. So we'll discuss all that. That's in the second half of the show. But right now, let's talk. We talked plenty of Marty Scurll as well. So let's talk WWE Backlash in Chicago this Sunday. We're just going to run through the card, maybe give our predictions, and we'll definitely talk some Randy Orton. That's for sure. So, guys, you want to just run through the card right away, or you got any thoughts before we get into that on television this week?
I would just point out that I think in the entire company, Finn and Roman might have the best chemistry in ring. Just throwing that out there.
They're 2 for 2 in ring matches.
Yep.
In terms of both were really good. They're both 4-star matches.
Roman, workhorse.
Mm-hmm.
We're 5 minutes into the show, and all the Roman haters are already tuning out thanks to your comment, Justin.
Well, most people
It's our yard.
Yeah.
I'll say this about Backlash. I'm not the first person to make this point. I certainly won't be the last. It's a show that, in the pre-network era, just wouldn't fly. I mean, it's obviously not doesn't have the feel of a spectacular star-studded lineup. But to me, there's 3 things. If they happen, the show's going to be a success. 1, if Nakamura comes off as a star. 2, if Jinder Mahal exceeds expectations. And 3, if AJ and Owens tear the house down. If all three of those things happen, the show's a home run. Two of them happen, it'll probably be thumbs up.
Well, they're at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, so they're going to have the crowd with them. I think Nakamura will get an awesome ovation, maybe the last ovation of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'll definitely come off as a star. I think Owens and AJ will tear it down. And
what match should go on last, in your guys' opinion? Because I think that's a big talking point going into the show. Because a lot of people are thinking that with Mahal, maybe they put something else on besides the WWE title match.
Nakamura, send him home happy for sure.
I'm kind of a traditionalist. I always think the world title should go on last. I can't imagine they don't put the world title on last, to be honest. But if I were changing it, yeah, I would probably put Nakamura on last, just to give him the rub as the big star on the brand.
I'll talk more about how I think they should book that Nakamura match when we get to it, but I actually would go with AJ and Owens as the last match.
I think that'll be the best in-ring match for sure.
I just don't think anyone's going to be able to top it. So, yeah, we'll talk. I'll save my thoughts for how I think the Nakamura match should go. I think I've brought it up before on the program. And if I haven't, well, then I'm going to say it for the first time.
All right. Well, we will wait in anticipation for that. Let's just run down the card. Some of these matches we're not going to talk a whole lot about because, like Kyle said, the card overall is not too exciting. But the kickoff match, Ty Dillinger, Aiden English. I don't think there's any question probably that Dillinger needs to win this match.
The perfect 10.
Not that a lot of people will be watching it, but Kyle, do you care to be contrarian and root for
already on TV? This just, man, Ty is another NXT call-up that just doesn't seem to have a direction right off the rip, does he?
Well, they're building him up. He's going to be the underdog.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get him some wins on TV, but I mean, I don't know, where does he go? All right, I guess here's the more important question then, because it's 3 for 3, right? No one's picking Aiden English to win this thing, right?
Right.
Where does Ty Dillinger go from here? Do you put him in the Money in the Bank match? Do you have him just feud with somebody else?
I think it kind of depends on how the Owens Styles match goes. If Owens retains, I wouldn't mind seeing Dillinger being worked up as a challenger for the U.S. title.
I don't see them doing that.
That's one direction they could go.
Yeah, I mean, they could do it. They could. I mean, certainly, I don't see them doing that.
But I like the Money in the Bank idea. I mean, he'd fit in there well. But yeah, I think Dillinger is obviously probably going to win there. We got Harper and Rowan in the bout between the former Wyatt family members. Predictions here. I think I'd have to go with Harper. Justin?
Yeah, probably Harper. Rowan's already got a win, and the only way I see Rowan getting a win is if they're actually going to build him up into something. But I think Harper should win.
Mm-hmm. Kyle?
Yeah, Harper, like Justin said, he lost on TV, so the way WWE's book, he'll win here. And, he's underutilized. I think everyone would agree with that. Rowan, man, I think if you look at this entire roster, both brands, there are very few guys who do less for me than Eric Rowan.
So there's your next tie feud.
Yeah, there you go.
Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin. Now, this one's interesting because I was pretty shocked. I don't know about you, Kyle. I used to recap SmackDown for Top Rope Press, so I didn't see your thoughts on it. You still write the preview, but were you surprised that Corbin lost to Orton by RKO on Tuesday night? Do you think they cut off his legs? A little
bit in the sense just because they usually protect him.
Yeah.
I mean, when he worked AJ, they had a roll-up finish. So it's that. Don't quote me on this. That might be the first time he's taken a clean pinfall loss of someone's finisher. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
I was. That's the one. That's the only one I remember, and I was pretty shocked when I watched it that he would lose clean to Orton like that as the guy they've been building up for months. Justin, thoughts?
I was trying to think. Did Dolph ever get a clean? Pin off of
I just remembered one on the I was there live. Dolph pinned him with Dirty Deeds on the pre-show at WrestleMania, or not Dolph, Ambrose.
Oh yeah, that's right. Shows how much of an impact that made on us. You were there live and didn't remember.
Well, I was moving seats at the time. I was doing a lot of. I was complaining at the time.
Go back to the archives and you can listen to our WrestleMania review and hear about how Kyle pulled some shenanigans to upgrade his seats at WrestleMania down in Florida. So. All right, that brings us to Nakamura and
Well,
Ziggler.
who's going to win? Did we go through our? Because it's a tough call.
Oh,
Corbin.
yeah, I think Corbin, especially after the finish to SmackDown.
Man, I know they feel they can beat Sammy all the time, and he's going to retain this sympathy. But there comes a point where the babyface kind of has to get revenge. And I'm with you guys. I don't think, especially after he just lost to Orton on SmackDown, I don't think you beat Corbin again. But you got to do something here to protect Sammy. Maybe you do something where Corbin wins with some heel shenanigans, and then Sammy kind of like frustrated that he loses again, like goes crazy after the match and starts like just bashing Corbin with a chair. Something
Or
like that.
like another, with Corbin losing, Sammy gets a lucky win, and so now Corbin more frustrated about 2 straight losses, and maybe he goes crazy on Sammy, and that just kind of continues their feud since it seems to be just kind of starting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you could expect both these guys to be in Money in the Bank on that pay-per-view. I mean, Corbin especially, since a lot of people think he's going to win it.
I just feel like Zayn is such damaged goods, and it's such a shame because this guy was like a true over baby face in a way like any baby face, top baby face should be. It's awesome in the ring, got great reactions from the crowd, and they have just done, you talk about NXT call-ups that they've done nothing with. Sami Zayn pretty much fits the bill perfectly there.
He's kind of been just floating around since he got that win over Owens. What was the pay-per-view last year at Battleground, the alleged blow-off of their feud?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been going on close to a year now where he's just kind of been, I don't want to say directionless, but not a lot of upward mobility. That's
wasted opportunity for sure. All right, so we're kind of disagreeing there. It would be interesting to see what they do for the finish if they do try to protect Sammy at all. So Nakamura, Ziggler, I think obviously Nakamura has to win this match. He needs to destroy Dolph in this match. I don't think any of us are going to disagree on that one. It'll just be about how he comes off looking. Is he a big star? I think the fact that this is in Chicago instead of where's there been a really bad crowd recently? Green Bay, Wisconsin had an awful TV crowd a couple months ago. Or
all I want from this match is for the Chicago crowd to show up and chant the shit out of Nakamura.
I think the reaction will be huge. That is arguably the loudest arena in the country. It'll be going crazy for Nakamura.
I'll say this. And here's why I don't think the match should go on last. I do not think how this is agented is really important. This should not be booked as a 4-star match or to be a 4-star match. I think, kind of as you alluded there, Ryan, it needs to be presented to the viewer very clearly that Shinsuke Nakamura is much better than Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, yeah.
That is it should not be one of the, and they do this a lot, and I'm worried about this, where they give the guy who's definitely going to lose way too much offense. And it kind of has the reverse effect where the guy that they're putting over with this big win doesn't really get over to the degree. I may be dating myself with this reference, but if you remember the Canadian Stampede pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Taka Michinoku Great Sasuke match? Where
we're just talking about Taka on the conversation with Abby.
Yeah, well, Taka took all the off. It was funny. Sasuke was the guy who they wanted to push. Mm-hmm. But Taka took so much offense, he wound up being the guy who got over the crowd. So it's really like, if Ziggler was a baby face, we'd say get hope spots. He's a heel. So I don't know what the term, the corresponding term is. It shouldn't be booked as like a 2-minute squash by any means, but it should be kind of an extended squash where nothing Dolph does really works. Nakamura's got a counter for everything, and he needs to come across as a huge star. That's way more important than doing a 15, 20-minute match that's competitive back and forth. That should not be what this is.
I agree. This match should not go over 10 minutes.
Yeah. I would be worried about that too, because Ziggler's obviously a guy that can have a great match. He's going to be in there with a great worker in Nakamura, but yeah, that is definitely not what this should be about. It should be about just putting over Nakamura strong, making him look dominant. And
is Ziggler
main eventer?
What do we think about Ziggler being the guy in this spot for Nakamura?
It all depends on
so much better in this role, I think.
It all depends on what they do afterwards. They can have a great match later on. Let Nakamura get a squash, and that would seemingly hurt Dolph. But if he can get a great match later on, then it doesn't matter. He's going to be a mid-carder top tier mid Carter for life.
Yeah. All right. 6-woman match, tag match. We got Naomi, Charlotte, and Becky taking on Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina.
The welcoming committee.
The welcoming committee. What a name.
Yeah.
What a name.
Better than the sorority sisters or the submission sorority sisters or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, that name didn't last, did it? Had some problems with that one.
Google it, kids.
Don't Google it if you're a kid, actually. Crap, I'm gonna have to edit this out of the show. Any predictions here, guys?
Good work, Justin.
You know, I guess this could go either way. I don't really. It's kind of hard to predict this. I'm just kind of waiting for Becky Lynch to finally turn heel because she is really getting lost in the shuffle. I think she needs something fresh.
I think I'm going to be on an island as 2017 continues. I don't think Becky Lynch should go heel.
You think? I mean, can she still be the top face on SmackDown? Because I think she could quite easily be the top heel woman if she turned.
Yes, if they are patient with it, they absolutely can. So. Naomi's going to lose the title at some point. And to whom, I don't know. But she'll lose it. And then the focus still long-term is Charlotte and Becky. And I think, those two kind of buddy up. And Charlotte earns Becky's confidence. And again, she's her father. Becky is Sting. And Charlotte, I guess I understand why they wanted her to go babyface here. But to me, she's a more natural here. And Becky's just too likable to be a heel. I think there has to be a real strong impetus for that.
I thought the same thing about Alexa Bliss when she was coming out blowing bubbles. Like, how is this woman going to be a heel?
Yeah, but that was a bad gimmick.
Yeah, but she didn't seem like someone that would portray herself as a heel.
I guess. Yeah, you got to wait till you see it. But I don't know. Becky's just, to me, is someone who could almost be a career babyface.
Yeah, if they keep Charlotte face, and then you got Naomi too. I don't see room for her on the face side.
I think you could do it long term. Let's be patient. Just like Axl Rose said, just a little patience.
Justin, your thoughts?
Old references by me this week.
This match I'm looking forward to the least. I mean, in any case, I rarely ever, unless the Shield and the Wyatts are involved, I don't look forward to 3-on-3 matches. But I'm going to go with the welcoming committee. You got to go with the established team to win, and they could probably use the win more than Charlotte or Naomi need it.
Okay. I could go for that and have like some dissension on the side of Charlotte and Lynch.
Wait, I saw Kyle gave a look. What was that look for?
I think my wife is hammering something in the basement, and it sounded like as long as it's not another dude, that's all I care about.
This show is
out off the rails.
This show has really got off the rails. Holy balls.
Yeah. No, I agree with you guys. The welcoming committee, who I hope is not in the basement with my wife, it should go over here because as soon as you beat them, no one's going to really care.
Yeah, true.
And it sure seems like they're building Carmella up as a future title contender, seeing as she has now pinned Naomi twice. Yeah. I hope they just don't have Naomi pin Carmella here. That'd be hideous.
We'll have to wait and see if it even matters. But I agree. I'm not. This is the one match in the card I really don't care about either way. That and Harper and Rowan probably. Tag title match: Usos defending against our favorites, Breezango.
What an entertaining pair.
They had their best segment yet on SmackDown. It was fantastic.
I think the sky is the limit for Breezango, and I want to see him win the titles.
I don't think it's going to happen, though, buddy. I'm with you. I would love to see it. They have a lot of room to grow as characters, but I think they're saving the Usos as champs for food for New Day.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm just saying I want to see it. I don't know. I would bet against it, but I would love to see it. Freshest thing right now in the tag division, easily. Kyle?
Yeah, Breezango, they're entertaining, but I don't know if they're what you would want as the champions of the division.
Kyle, you've been pretty vocal on your distaste for the New Day in recent months. How do you think Breezango and the New Day compare?
Oh, Breezango's much funnier.
Okay.
I
agree.
It's like comparing Stephen Colbert to Gallagher or something. I don't know.
Yeah, if
Gallagher probably doesn't like the New Day, does he?
Yeah. I'm, I'm, pro- I'm probably choosing the Usos here, but my heart says Breezango. My brain says the Usos.
Yep, I'm right there with you, man.
All right, let's get to the bread and butter here.
What a broadcast
two big
professional
matches.
you are, by the way, Ryan. You're not cracking at all, man. We're just, I mean, I'm talking about God knows what's going on in the basement and Gallagher and his ways. And wow,
I thought of some comments I could have said when you were like, I hope that's not the welcoming committee down there, but I held off.
Yeah.
Try to be professional.
I appreciate that.
So Owens and Styles, U.S. title, probably the match of the night. You know, as much as I love AJ, I think Owens has to keep the belt here.
Yep, face of America.
Yep.
I mean, he has T-shirts. He's going to be holding on to at least feuding for the U.S. title for quite a while now.
Yeah.
See, I think. Well, I mean, if you look, I mean, again, the house show programs are always subject to change, but I see Nakamura beating Owens for the U.S. title by SummerSlam. Is what I see, but it's interesting here because. How do you book the finish? Because I'm with you guys. Owens is going to probably win just because they just switched the titles twice, with him losing to Jericho and then winning it back in a 24-hour or 48-hour span. So I don't think they're going to change it again. Do you do something where this is something where I think you absolutely just, give the two artists the blank canvas, so to speak, and just give them a ton of time. And you just kind of book a finish that, unlike the Nakamura Ziggler, you're like, this could have gone either way, and then both these guys could be in Money in the Bank next month.
With how humdrum this card is, if these guys don't get at least 20 minutes, it's a travesty.
Oh, they've got to get 20.
Yeah, and these two could put on just a fantastic match, and it's definitely by far the one I am looking forward to the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, easily. So we're all in agreement, Kevin Owens.
Yeah, a lot of agreement here.
So if Owens keeps the U.S. title and the Usos keep the SmackDown tag titles, do we think? Are you telling me there's a chance that our guy Jinder Mahal could walk out WWE champion from the Allstate Arena Sunday night?
Nope.
No.
Kyle.
There's some stuff that came out today about Orton, not only retaining here but keeping the title for an extended period of time. I believe it was from everyone's favorite source, Sportskeeda, that questionable source here.
Well, we know they've been wrong a few times. So
they have, but I will say this: the notion there was something in there that Orton was Vince McMahon's call specifically to win the Rumble. That's true. I know that to be a fact.
Shocking.
So Vince really was of the opinion he went to the Rumble. Oh, everyone thinks a Raw guy's going to win this, so he just wanted a SmackDown guy to win it. And that's kind of when him winning the Rumble, while you would think it would have made the Wyatt program a bigger deal, it's kind of when the creative went off the rails. I thought, if you go back and look, I don't think that was the original plan. But Orton's going to win here, and he's, I think he's going to be kind of an old school babyface champ against, a couple foreign heels.
Can you find a bigger babyface in the entire industry than Randy Orton?
I mean, he didn't babyface himself on the internet there, did he?
I was just going to say, what a babyface. What a babyface. Getting on his social media with his terrible takes on politics and recently.
All right, I got to be honest here. I saw you going ape shit. Abby wrote about.
I think that might be an overstatement.
Oh, you were mad. I've seen you were mad. The only time I've ever seen you madder is with Goldberg and Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, those are the only.
Oh my! You might want to go back. You might want to go back to like early November, and then you might see me a little bit more mad.
When were you mad?
Early November, around the 8th.
Oh yes, that was bad. Sad. If you will.
That was
bad. Yeah. Well, we didn't have a podcast about that, so I didn't have a chance.
That's true.
I guess I could imagine. Well, I could imagine that's reasonable. So a lot of people were up in arms, and when I saw the tweet, my reaction was, I'm like, oh God, I hope people don't take the bait here. And of course they did. I just thought the reaction was, I thought, worse than the actual tweet from Orton.
I don't think that people took issue with like what he said being wrong about the dives and the no selling and stuff. I think people took offense because it's Randy Orton saying this, and look at why he is where he is. That's why.
Yeah,
To
it's
me, it was
just
the
his
most
general douchebaggery.
Yeah.
It was the most interesting thing he's done, given the reaction in 2017.
That's probably true.
Like, I have never cared more about Randy Orton than I did when in that 24-hour news cycle when he sent out the tweet. And I'm sure everyone knows what we're talking about. The tweet that he sent out, poking fun at independent wrestling. And he does have a point. As much as people want to critique, the WWE has a style, there is an indie style.
Mm-hmm.
There absolutely is.
I was thinking that watching Best of Super Juniors, because I was watching Ricochet, who I think is the best non-WWE wrestler out there to me. And I'm watching him wrestle Ospreay, and I'm thinking, so when this guy goes to WWE, is he going to be as special because he's going to change his style? When he gets to the main roster, he might be able to do that kind of stuff in NXT, or if they do another cruiserweight tournament. But look what's happened to the cruiserweights when they got brought up to the main roster. If Ricochet is kind of like, if his matches are held in check and he can't work that indie style that he does, is he going to be a special?
You have to learn to work, because guys have gotten there's a lot of guys who have come from the indie scene and have absolutely have kind of modified their style and gotten over in the confines of WWE.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. You can do it. It's just, I don't think one is better than the other. A great worker can get over either way.
Yeah.
In either environment. That's the sign of a great worker. You can get over, no matter what. And there is, for the record, there is no right way to get over. People who are like, how dare you insult independent wrestling? It's like, man, you come across as such a mark when you do that.
I think what he said has some merit. I agree. It's just the way he went about saying it, and then the comments he made about himself
it's
were
Randy
cringeworthy.
Orton. Did you expect Randy Orton to have a 10-year breakdown of independent wrestling? Of course he's going to be a dick about it.
But he's supposed to be a babyface. He's supposed to be a babyface.
No. Am I doing PW Torch here, or what's going on?
That is kind of the saddest part about it, is that he is just such a great heel in pro wrestling and in real life.
Yeah.
If he could be doing this kind of stuff in front of the camera, that would make for great television.
Well, the only problem is, I kind of agree with you're going, Justin, with it. Like, he does seem to be he has a more natural heel charisma. He's not a really like when he gets over as a babyface, it's not as like a likable babyface, really.
No, it's like the guy who's been around for a long time. And we know who he is. He's done some stuff.
And he's booked strong. He's kind of booked as a badass. It's not like he's not a good traditional babyface by any stretch of the his two peaks were both as heels, 04 and then 08, 09.
Mm-hmm.
He was a heel. I don't know exactly what you would call his best babyface work in this company. I hated that the first turn he had in 04 was just awful.
Yeah.
And not all of it was his fault, but it was just poorly executed. I'm trying to think when else he been a babyface, because then it didn't happen for a while. He was like at WrestleMania in Phoenix, he was a babyface. That was like
wasn't during that feud with Christian for the world title.
Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff. Yes. Okay, there you go. That's absolutely it, Justin. That's absolutely it.
And that could even be contributed to Christian, because Christian was at the top of his heel game.
Yes, Christian was very good during that period. But I just think, but going back to what Justin said about him doing this in front of the camera, it would have to be something. This is not, what he was talking about is not something that can draw money on WWE television. Just a discussion of independent, him like trolling indie fans, that's not going to work in a larger, with a larger audience.
Yeah.
He was a tremendous heel for about a 24-hour span on Twitter to the people who really cared about that. And by the way, Rip Rogers, I'll tell you what, good heel that he is. He kind of got away scot-free. No one was going after Rip.
Yeah, he got a payday out of that. Well, he got a payday. Doesn't he have a match with Will Ospreay?
Yeah, then he started he parlayed into a payday. Rip
pulled the old Vader from last year.
Yeah, I saw some old school Rip Rogers when I was watching like the early Smoky Mountain TV. He was a little underappreciated as the old scuzzy heel.
Yeah, well, that's what Orton would be better as, and like we said, I think he just rubs people the wrong way with his I'm at my 13th title reign and I'm gonna go count my money and stuff.
See, the whole
It's
thing was so funny.
geez.
And when he posed with Drew Gulak after Raw, that was absolutely incredible.
The no-fly zone.
Yes, that was unbelievable.
That was pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, Randy Orton has won. Randy Orton's won this feud against the indie fans.
I wish I could remember who tweeted this to, give them credit, but somebody tweeted that he needs to start a faction with the Revival for, the team that's against flips and stuff, flips and dives.
Well, it was Dawson loved the comment.
Oh, did he? Nice.
Yeah, and that to me was actually something that not a lot of people were talking about and should have been. There were a lot of people within WWE who came to Orton's defense. So it's a mentality that obviously goes beyond Randy Orton in WWE. I mean, it's not like just, Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. It's, other wrestlers in the company feel that way, obviously.
Well, unfortunately for them, the best thing on television this week involved a lot of flips and dives, and that was the Best of the Super Juniors tournament over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we can appreciate flips and dives when they are in context.
Both. Like, you don't have to hate one and, love the other. You can appreciate both. I never want WWE to turn into New Japan.
There's enough room for headlocks and flips for everybody.
Yeah,
that is true. So we're all going in the main event. We're all going with Orton then.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think they'll try. It sucks that they, the heat was all with Mahal stealing the title. And I thought you could have done maybe even a DQ here where Orton went crazy. Although, I kind of advocated that for Sam, and you wouldn't want to do that twice on the same show. But Orton goes crazy, gets a DQ, but he takes the belt back, his belt back, and then they do a rematch on SmackDown. They can't really do that anymore. But yeah, I think Jinder will be made to look kind of strong, but he loses.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. All that really needs to come out of this match is for Jinder to be made to look at least somewhat strong and competitive against a top superstar, so that he can work a higher level for. And it would be a travesty if this ends in just a RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, like an 8-minute match. That'd be kind of. I can't wait for Jinder and the Singh brothers against the Hype Bros and Rob Gronkowski at SummerSlam. By the way, what a match that'll be! What a match that'll be! I can't wait for that.
All right. Well, we'll be back with you next week to talk all the fallout from WWE Backlash. But like I promised you at the beginning of the show, Justin and I taped a segment with Abby Arthur from Top Rope Press talking New Japan. It's been a while since we've talked New Japan Pro Wrestling to an extensive level here on Top Rope Nation. So I'm going to take you to that interview right now and take a listen. Abby hasn't been on the show since I think last fall, so I think you'll enjoy this. All right, we're back here on Top Rope Nation. Time to talk a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's been a long while actually since we've talked New Japan here on the show. It's been way too long since we've had Abby on with us. So we are joined by Abby Arthur, the resident New Japan expert of TopRopePress.com, the associate editor, my partner in crime over at Top Rope Press. And Justin, I know you're pretty excited to talk to Abby. Big fan of her New Japan coverage on the site. So
absolutely. In fact, most of the thoughts and opinions you hear from me will probably just come directly from her articles on New Japan.
Just paraphrase what you've read on the website.
Hey, as long as you mock Tana's ponytail, we're all good.
No, but it's great to have you back on the show, Abby, and we've been talking about doing this for a while, so I'm glad to have you on. What better week to have you on than the week that the Best of the Super Juniors started?
I know, the Best of the Super Juniors, going into Dominion, then coming to the U.S., then going into the G1. It's marathon time for New Japan.
That's for sure. So the press conference in California just got over not long ago. You covered it on the website. Any big news coming out of that event?
Basically, they let us know that all of the tickets for the shows, both shows sold out in 2 hours. They did say that the shows will air live on Access in the U.S. both the shows on the first and the second, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. They will also stream live on New Japan World, but only for non-U.S. territories, which kind of sucks because access is available in so few homes in the U.S. that the way that we get it, the way all of these 15,000 subscribers get New Japan in the U.S. is through World. So I don't know how well this is going to go over with access because it's not available. I know it's not available to me.
Yeah, Justin, do you have access?
I don't think so. It doesn't ring a bell.
I have it on DirecTV, but it's like way down the list of channels. I set the DVR to record the show every week, but it's usually stuff I've already seen, so I don't usually watch it.
Yeah,
but
they're months and months behind, which is another problem.
yeah.
Also, there's going to be a 2-day tournament, and we've covered this on the site, to crown the inaugural IWGP United States champion. The only 2 names for the tournament right now that we have are Jay Lethal and Hangman Page. Those are the only 2 official entrants.
So Justin and I were talking about that before you came on, and we were talking off air. You didn't hear it on the earlier part of Top Rope Nation, I should say. But who do you have any predictions on who they'll go with for that at this point? Because we had one we were talking about, but I'm curious what you think.
Well, New Japan's plan, what Kadani said in a presser earlier this week, was that within the next 18 months, they plan to have a home base for a branch of New Japan in California, reopen the LA dojo. So I'm guessing, and this is just me, if I had to take an educated guess, they're going to go with Cody.
That's exactly who we said.
And if they don't go with Cody, they might, since they want to kind of do this without Ring of Honor's influence, and I can't blame them at all, they might go with Michael Elgin, but Cody's a bigger name right now.
Yeah, no doubt. That'd get him some buzz. Well, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. I think we should start a crowdfunding site to send Abby live to the show. You should be covering it live from Los Angeles, Abby. It's only right.
There are no tickets There are no tickets left. I have entered that contest on Twitter probably about 40 times to see if I can, win a free ticket. But
I think maybe we need to just contact New Japan directly and be like, this lady gets up at stupid o'clock to cover your shows live. The least you can do if she flies to California is let her through the doors.
Yeah, give me a press pass. Yeah, I'll come cover it for you.
I will legitimately look into it if you're down.
I'd go in a heartbeat.
Oh.
Ishii's going to be there, so I'd need to take a very big bag so I can kidnap him and bring him home with me. But anyway.
Hey, no, I'm going to look into this. We'll see, but I'm going to look into a contact to see if we can get anything arranged on that.
Okay, we already know that the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the IWGP Intercontinental Championships, which, if you missed the Best of the Super Junior show this morning, the Intercontinental Championship got a little bit broken today on purpose, I think. So there might be a new one of those too.
I did not see that. What happened?
Naito, I think this was his master plan all along. He throws it in the air and throws it to the ring and kicks it down the ramp whenever he's going to the ring. He threw it into the ring post twice, slammed it into the ring steps 3 times as hard as he could, and then after the match, whammed it into the ring post again and cracked the front plate of the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. The young boys were out there with the ring bell hammer and trying to bend it back. It's a very funny moment. You'll have to watch it and see.
Somewhere Shinsuke Nakamura shed a tear.
No, he's probably laughing at Naito, thinking, "Man, why didn't I think to do this? Because that was one dirty, ugly belt."
Yeah.
So with the heavyweight title and the IC title being defended, I'm pretty sure they're going to add. I mean, if I take an educated guess, I'm betting since War Machine is they're the heavyweight tag champions. The Bucks are probably going to come into these shows as the junior heavyweight tag champions. Los Ingobernables is going to be there. They have the Never title. Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be there. I don't think Suzuki's going to be there, but I have a feeling that other titles are going to be defended on the shows as well.
Yeah, I mean the prevailing thought is Omega will walk in IWGP champion. You would think.
Please. Lord, I don't know if y'all watch this thing. And Kenny Omega, I love you. I really, really, really do. But I don't know who the hell out in California did your hair, son. But you need to go get your money back because it looked bad. God, it was like charcoal. It was like he got extensions, and it was not good.
I have to look it up just for that.
Yeah, it's not pretty. But other than that, they just announced the roster that will be on the shows, and it's pretty much the entire roster, with the exception of Suzuki-gun.
Interesting.
And several guys from Chaos aren't going to be there. It'll be Liger, Kushida, David Finlay, Juice Robinson, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the Tempura Boys, Sho and Yohi, Jay White, Billy Gunn, Yoshi Tatsu, who I know everybody's going to want to go and see, Roppongi Vice, Will Ospreay, Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, the entire Los Ingobernables stable, Zack Sabre Jr., War Machine, Jay Lethal, the Briscoe brothers, and they're bringing in 3 guys from CMLL, Volador Jr., Dragon Lee, and Titan, and the whole of the Bullet Club.
Wow. Yeah, we got to get you in the doors. That's a heck of a lineup. Yeah, it should be. So it's July 1st and 2nd, right?
Yes, July 1st and 2nd at Long Beach, yes.
My sister is literally getting married on July 1st, so I never had a chance to go. But I'm hoping with this U.S. expansion that we get some shows in the Midwest and they continue to expand, because I would love to see New Japan in person. We'll just have to see what happens.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Plus, it'd be awesome to see it, actually in our time zone. So not have to get up.
Yeah, that was one thing that Omega said when he had some comments. He said during the last part of it that he loves that the fans support them, stay up late to watch them, and want to give it back to the fans in North America by having live shows at a decent hour. He says for him, this is the purest form of gratitude, being able to give back to the fans due to the star power and success that they've achieved in New Japan. He said that they as a company can challenge the world, change the world, and he can't see them failing.
When he mentioned watching it, not early in the morning, he turned to the camera, winked, and held up a sticky note that said, "At Abby A."
He probably did. Yeah, because it's crazy. 5:30 in the morning for the best of the Super Junior shows. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. You got to have stamina and love for this business and this company to get up at those hours and then go work a full day.
That's for sure.
And then do it again the next day.
I have no idea how you do it. It's very impressive. You got quite the following on Twitter. I feel lucky to have you on the website. I think it really sets Top Rope Press apart from a lot of the web to have your coverage on there. It's definitely it's been a big success for the website since you came on staff. What was it, about 2 years ago now?
I think so.
I know you were around the summer of the whole Hulk Hogan disaster, and that was 2 years ago, so that's right.
Yeah, I can look and see my exact date of my first article. So I was looking the other day, it's like, Lord, I've got 1,555 articles and 63 pages, 78 pages now on the website.
Yeah.
My first article was July 7th, 2015. Yeah, so we're coming up on 2 years.
I think you are the longest tenured person on staff, other than myself, obviously. So very cool. We'll have to celebrate on July 7th.
Yes.
So the first 2 days of the Best of Super Juniors had 2 pretty awesome shows. I know you've got some strong thoughts on them. I wanted to hit it over to Justin for a second, because I know he saw from night 1 the Marty Scurll match with Will Ospreay. And Justin, any feelings you'd like to share on that bout?
Loved it. I have not seen a lot from either guy, just maybe a dozen matches, but it was great the way they worked the match. Will trying to get the high flying stuff in, and Marty's little too sweet eye poke was fantastic, and the whole end sequence was just mind blowing, and especially the finish with the Oz cutter into the chicken wing. Just can't say enough about it.
I think that's pretty much unanimously the bout of the night for night 1, wouldn't you say, Abby?
Yeah, it was. Marty, if you don't watch British indie wrestling, then you're not going to know the history between Ospreay and Skrull, but they've had a long-standing feud. And the match that they had on night one, we've kind of seen it before, but what a lot of people were worried about was, oh man, he's going to go into Korakuen Hall, and what are they going to do? Man, within 5 seconds, the fans were doing the whoop whoop on his song. Yeah, by the end of the match, Milano and the other announcers, the Japanese announcers, were doing it.
Yeah, that
Goto
was pretty awesome.
Announcing, he wasn't doing it, but Goto's just boring anyway. But yeah, I mean, immediately he was over, and it was like, oh, thank goodness, thank goodness, they know who he is, they know what he does, and
That's pretty funny because I was watching that. My wife was like in the background while I was watching the match, and she's kind of making fun of the Japanese announcing. She's like, "Can you mute that?" I'm like, "No, it's not the same.
No.
I can't mute it."
No.
And so our child was watching it too, and I'm like, "She's going to be bilingual," and and then when the whoop whoop started, my wife like started imitating it, and I was like, "Yes, I'm breaking through a little bit."
Yes, you have to. Marty can change the world. Yes. On night one, Taka Michinoku and Jushin Liger, who opened the show, had a very solid match. And it's kind of bittersweet, this Best of the Super Juniors, and I wrote this today. It's kind of sad any match I see because this is his last one. And we know since this is his last Super Juniors that probably retirement is not too far down the line for him. And it's sad because there will never be another talent like Liger, ever. The man's 52 years old and still looking half his age in these matches with these young guys.
I remember I saw him at a WCW house show probably in, I mean, I was pretty young at the time. Well, I was in high school, but it was in 2000. And the reason I said I was pretty young is because it felt to me like he had been around for a long time, at that point. And that was like 16, 17 years ago. That's crazy to think about.
And he debuted back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Yeah, it's
He was my introduction to cruiserweight wrestling when I saw him against Brian Pillman at Super Brawl 2, which is still one of my probably top 10 favorite matches of all time.
Yeah, he is the man who introduced the cruiserweights, junior heavyweights to North America. And him and Pillman were the two that really introduced it in the big two here, the big two companies here. And yeah, they set the tone and made it possible for an entire generation of smaller guys to come in, and then the guys we see now. So there will never be another one like Liger.
I'm pretty sure when Justin and I were friends, and when we found out we were wrestling fans, I'm pretty sure Justin brought up that match within the first 10 minutes after we found out we had this common bond of pro wrestling and Super Brawl 2.
I try and bring up that match as much as possible.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful match. It's one of those that, it sticks in the back of your mind.
Yeah. So
but yeah, Marty and Will had probably the match of the night. A close second was Dragon Lee and Takahashi. They've been feuding ever since Takahashi went on his excursion to CMLL, and they try to kill each other every time they're in the ring together. So they're just insane. Both of them are insane. Takahashi a little bit more because he thinks he's a cat, talks to title belts, plays with balloons, and walks around, licking everything and playing with art dolls. So he's just a little bit crazier.
So if you had to pick between night 1 and night 2 that have aired so far, which night did you prefer?
Night 1 was better because it was all tournament matches.
Yeah.
Last night or today's show, we had, the undercard matches. Found out that Tana is hurt worse than we thought. He's not going to be on any of the tour. And no, despite my joking, he did not sprain his ponytail. He tore his bicep. So he is off until June 9th on the road to Dominion show. Last year, he had to miss Dominion due to a shoulder injury. So he and Kenny Omega did not have their ladder match for the Intercontinental title. Hopefully this tear isn't too bad, and he and Naito can still have their IC match at Dominion this year.
What's the date of Dominion again? Do you know offhand?
June 11th.
June 11th, that's right. Yeah, I would agree. From what I saw, I haven't seen both shows, but I probably preferred night 1 as well. But night 2 did have 2 matches that easily contended for match of the night, I think.
Taka Michinoku and Tai Chi, man, that was like the greatest match ever. I sat here on my couch.
6 stars.
What? First, it was like, I'm dreading this because it's Tai Chi. And, if we all banded together in our hate of Tai Chi, we could make the world a better place. We really could. World peace would be had in no time. But this was, and then it was like, what even is this?
I have not even watched that
It was
match.
a joke. It was the worst quote unquote match in New Japan history. It was horrible.
I skipped over that one pretty quickly.
Just don't watch it. Literally, don't watch it. Just read my recap, and that's not. Just don't abuse yourself.
I definitely watched the Ospreay Ricochet match. Was really looking forward to that after the match they had last year. And how'd you think that lived up to what they did last year? Did you think they exceeded last year's match? Did you prefer the first? It's hard for sequels to beat the first one, as always. But I don't know. I think they might have surpassed it.
This was like Ospreay Ricochet 47 because they've done this match everywhere since last year's Best of the Super Juniors. And I don't think this one had a little bit more of a mat-based tone to it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
A little bit more technique on the mat.
Yeah, I liked it.
A little bit more submission.
Yeah, I liked it because it was a little bit more widespread. Like, it had far more styles within the match than last year's. That was pretty much all high flying. I think last year's got so much recognition just because it was so shocking to people that really hadn't watched these two much before. So I don't think it's going to get the kind of buzz that last year's match did. But I really appreciated the fact that they worked in all kinds of styles in the match.
Yeah, they worked in everything, and it was a lot more varied. So I think that would make it appeal to a lot more people.
Yeah.
So in that essence, it was better. But that first match will always be one of the greatest matches ever simply because of what it was. You might love their talent. You might hate their talent. You might love them or hate them. But you cannot argue the fact that they are two of the best in the world at what they do. And I call it flippy dippy stuff to be funny, but they're amazing.
Yeah. I saw Ricochet last summer in July, like 2 months after that first match in the Best of the Super Juniors. And I had a few beers, and I went up to his autograph table. He was just like watching the matches at an indie show. I went up and talked to him for a while about the match, and afterwards I was kind of cringing because when I was talking to him, I was like, oh man, that match, when I saw it, I told all my friends that weren't even wrestling fans to go watch it. I showed it to a few people, and then like the next morning I'm thinking, he's probably heard people say the exact same thing like every day since then. What an idiot. Why did I say that? I should have said something more unique. But no, you could tell he was pretty proud of the match. He was selling t-shirts with him and Ospreay on the front of it talking about the match. So
and that whole wrestling is an art thing came out of that match.
He was selling that shirt there as well.
And I have that shirt, and I agree with everything that's written on that shirt. But I think this week more people are talking about Randy Orton and Will Ospreay than are talking about Ricochet and Ospreay's rematch.
Yeah. Well, Ospreay getting in his mocking of Orton in night one was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, Viper Will. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Ricochet hit an RKO. So, yeah, they got their little hits in.
Yeah. So, overall, yeah, it's been a pretty good 2 nights of the Best of the Super Juniors so far. Any other thoughts on night 2?
Takahashi and Liger was pretty, it was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Crazy beat class this time, but, I expect Hiromu to do that pretty much through the tournament. The undercard matches, Cozy, and he's teaming up with Taguchi Japan to go up against Los Ingobernables in these undercard matches. He's filling in for Tana. So, they're really not anything to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Our wonderful War Machine is out there working with Tama Tonga and Tangaloa to get ready for their Dominion tag team title match. The opening match tonight was good because it was a Young Lions match. And you had Oka and Kawato teaming with Tiger Mask to go up against Yagi Umino, who is the son of Red Shoes, the referee, and Kitamura, who is the scariest young lion you will ever see. the one that got kicked out of the Olympics because of steroids. And it doesn't look like he stopped that little habit either. But dude is scary, and I'm convinced Oka is an undercover uncle because he's the oldest looking young lion I've ever seen, and I do not believe for a minute he's in his 20s. I think he's 40 something.
I just realized we didn't even talk about the other match that I was referring to when Night 2 had two best of the night contenders, and obviously Dragon Lee and Marty Scurll, with Dragon Lee going over.
I was kind of surprised at that, but then kind of not, because Dragon Lee is kind of a favorite in A Block. Marty's a favorite in A Block, and Ricochet's a favorite in A Block. Any of those three I can see coming out winning.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they would hold off on Ricochet just because he seems like destined to go to WWE by the end of the year?
He doesn't want to.
You don't think that's going to happen?
He's been saying for a year that he wants to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title.
Mm-hmm.
That's his goal. What New Japan has been doing ever since Hiromu got done with his last opponent, which was Ricochet, actually. They've been teasing him and Kushida again, which I don't want to see because Gato does not know how to book Kushida when he's got that title. And one of the problems I've got with New Japan is they don't do singles feuds. Have y'all noticed that watching? They don't do them.
Yeah, that's
Everything's
true.
a multi-man match.
Yeah.
Unless it's for a title, you're not going to get a singles match. And it kind of devalues some of these guys in a way because you never see a variety of opponents. That's the same thing night after night after night. And Kenny Omega has said this. Trent Beretta has said this. It's the same thing every night.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would kind of shake it up a little bit, but logic dictates that they're going to go the Hiromu Kushida route with them winning both of their blocks. I would love to see them do something completely different and have, say, even Marty win A block and have, I'm trying to think of who's in B block that's even decent.
ACH?
Yeah, I mean, ACH or Bushi. I would love Bushi to win because they have just been horrible with booking Bushi lately. Or ACH, even Taguchi, who was like the standout star last year. I don't want him to go with Ospreay because he won it last year and they did nothing with him.
Mm-hmm.
Kushida is boring. Takahashi's already the champion. I don't think they're going to do it with a CMLL guy like Volador Jr. or Dragon Lee because they're only there twice a year.
So because of what they did with Will Ospreay last year, and anybody that follows you on Twitter knows that you are in love with the villain, or would you be worried at all that they would do nothing with Marty Skeksis, the villain, if he actually won?
Hey, man, that's what got you on my list. Okay, don't start that mess again. And you're not the only one that did it. Somebody else said the exact same thing to me. It's like, okay, you're on my list too. I don't know. I think it might be a little. I'm not really worried about Marty, and I wasn't really worried about Will, because I'm a weird kind of person. I don't like the British guys in New Japan. I just love Marty. I love what he does. He's great. I love Will, and I love Zack Sabre Jr. on the British Indies. I don't like them in New Japan, and I don't know why. I have no reasoning for this. But I think if they end up putting that belt on one of them, it's going to be the same thing that would happen with anybody they put that belt on. It's going to be maybe defend it 3 times a year, no singles matches, no singles feuds, everything in multi-man matches, building up to maybe 3 or 4 shows during the year.
Well, I'm hoping Marty wins it. That's my pick.
Me too. I'm team villain all the way.
Did you order the new?
Logic dictates that from what they were doing before Best of the Super Juniors started, that Gato is kind of looking at going the Kushida Takahashi route.
Yeah. Did you order your new Villain Bullet Club T-shirt yet?
Oh my God, those things are so sweet.
I've been thinking about it all week.
I ordered one of Marty's new shirts when he came out with them a couple of weeks ago that looked like Skeeksies. They do, because I thought, oh man, this is just a scary looking shirt. And yeah, I got one of those that's on its way. I'm gonna have to order one of the Villain Club shirts though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, super villain shirt is pretty sweet too.
Yeah, I told him and Jimmy Havoc the other day, he's like, man, y'all will have to get more writing gigs to keep me in shirts.
Yeah. They got a lot of good ones coming out. I like supporting anything on Pro Wrestling Tees and supporting the wrestlers. So I'm always kind of browsing through there, seeing how I can blow all my money.
Yes, I bought a new Yano shirt the other day that I realized after I bought it, I looked at the back of it, and I can't really wear it out in public.
Oh, God, what's on it?
What it says on the back of the shirt. Something about, Yano's thing is getting in the ropes and break, doing the break spot so that nobody will hit him. And this one is break on the G-string. And I'm like, what? And it's Yano as Mozart on the front. And it's like, I can't wear this thing out in public with a bunch of rednecks down here.
I think you're wandering away from
abuse.
Wandering away from the club or something. Yeah, probably not a good idea. All right, Abby. Well, we're gonna have you back on at least when the Best of the Super Juniors ends, and probably before. Well, we'll have to talk Dominion too, and we'll have to talk G1 with you again. I know last year you were on the show for the G1, so we will see what happens. But thanks for coming on Top Rope Nation again. Obviously, you can check out Abby's post at Top Rope Press. She is on the Angry Marks podcast every single week on Thursday nights, right, Abby?
Yes, in fact, I will be hanging up with y'all to go do that one next.
So check her out over there and follow her on Twitter at Abby A. You can follow Justin at Joint319. I'm at Historical Ryan, and of course at TR Nation Podcast and at Top Rope Press. We'll catch you guys next week.
Fight Cheat forever.
Oh.